Well, hello and welcome to the Podcast Engineering Show. My name is Chris Curran. I produce podcasts for companies, and I also teach at Podcast Engineering School. And every week on this show, we bring you podcast production techniques on a silver platter. We actually alternate between interviews with podcast producers and engineers and Daily Goody episodes like this one, where I'm going to talk about 6 of the Daily Goody blog posts that I write every day. Actually, I don't write them almost every day. You can sign up to receive these Daily Goodies via email. You can receive it daily or weekly, like a weekly roundup. And you can sign up on the website, podcastengineeringschool.com. So we're going to cover the Daily Goodies. By the way, the next semester of Podcast Engineering School starts January 12th, 2021. Yeah, it's starting to sound futuristic here, 2021. And also, after we talk about the Daily Goodies, I'm just going to share a little bit about what's been going on in my world. Just a bunch of random stuff I'm doing and kind of announcements, things like that. But more personal. So we'll cover the Daily Goodies first, but let's talk about the Focusrite Scarlett 2i2 3rd Gen. Actually, the whole Scarlett series, 3rd generation, because they are the sponsor of this episode. And right now, so on the Focusrite Scarlett 3rd Gen units, by the way, they're audio interfaces, if you didn't know, and they're the world's best-selling USB interface range with over 3 million units sold worldwide. And there's 6 different interfaces with different amounts of inputs. You want 1 input, 2, 4, 8, depends on how many mics you have, and really good sound quality, and works with whatever recording software you're already using. Doesn't matter what software. And there's also the air button. I want to talk about this air button on the Scarlett 3rd Gen series because it adds some nice high end. And so, in this episode, I'm not recording with my usual microphone. I think for the last maybe 6 or 9 months, I've been using the Rode NT1 microphone, which is a condenser microphone. And today, I broke out my old, I've had it for a while. It's not old, but it's a Shure SM7B. And I used to use this mic for years, and it's a great mic. And I broke it out, so now I have the Shure SM7B plugged into my Focusrite Scarlett 2i2 3rd Gen. And I'm also, right out of the microphone, I'm using an SE Electronics DM1 Dynamite. It's a gain booster. So it's like a little piece of hardware that adds about 25 dB of gain. So it works well with the Shure SM7B, which is typically a darker microphone. But I'm a little further from the mic today. But anyway, so I have the air button engaged on the 2i2, the Scarlett 2i2. And the air button adds like some high frequency clarity and a little sizzle. It can really just add a lot of clarity to certain microphones. And this microphone, the Shure SM7B, is one of those that usually needs a little brightening up. So right now the air button is in, and I'm actually going to turn it off and read a couple more things about the Scarlett series. So I'm going to turn it off right now. Okay, now the air button is off. And by the way, these interfaces, these Scarlett 3rd Gen interfaces, works with any type of XLR microphone, which means if you have a dynamic mic or a condenser mic, because it does have phantom power, so it can handle condenser mics. And so let me turn the air back on now. All right, the air's back on, and the air feature's great, and also has you can get a loopback app with the Scarlett series, and it allows you to record Skype calls or Zoom calls directly into your software on your computer. So the loopback little app is really cool. So that's the Focusrite Scarlett series. Thank you, Focusrite, for sponsoring the show, and there'll be a link in the description, so click through that and check out the Scarlett series. Okay, let's get to the Daily Goodies, and I'm curious to, you might want to rewind the podcast and listen when I had the air button off, right? because now it's on. It's been on the whole time except for that little window of time when I turned it off. So I don't know. I'd be interested to see, if you hear any difference, or, there is a difference, so you'll be able to hear the difference. So what do you think of that difference? Okay, so Daily Goody posts. We're going to cover the post from July 31st to August 13th, starting with staying involved in podcasting groups and communities. Yeah, so this is one of the things I love most about the podcasting industry is the events and the community and the friends I've made in the industry. 2020 has been a horrible year for many reasons, and so I haven't been able to see a lot of my friends in the industry, but there's no better way to have more fun, to learn more, to grow faster than to go to, podcasting events and also be involved in podcasting groups and communities, obviously online. And one of them, by the way, is the Podcasters Lounge on Facebook. Not sure you remember that. I'm going to mention that again later, but yeah, staying involved in groups and communities is awesome. And by the way, with these groups and communities, please don't just think that these are places you can go when you have a question or when you have a need. Like, just go there or just sort of monitor what's happening, and maybe someone else asks a question, and then you can help them. So I think all too often we're a little too selfish, and we just think of ourselves. And people go into groups all the time, and they just want advice, and they have questions, and it's fine most of the times. Although I don't like those the types of posts where someone's like, Zencaster, Squadcast, Fiesta, and XYZ and ABC. Which one's the best? Go. Oh God. Please do some of your own research too. I don't know. I don't appreciate when people ask questions and they literally didn't lift a finger to find the answer yet. And they honestly, they don't even really care to find the answer. They just want to post somewhere, ask a general question, and then they want everyone else to tell them what to do, which is terrible. Because by the way, all these people commenting on these posts, 75% of them literally have no idea what they're talking about. And, they just don't know. But people like to comment. People like to throw their opinion out. So, I don't know. Groups and communities are awesome, but, try to be good, try to be helpful, and try to learn. So, okay, next Daily Goody. What are your favorite plugins for podcast production? Okay, so in this post, I included my 4 favorite plugins. And the plugins I chose are basically for mixing, meaning post-production, mixing and post-production. And I didn't include plugins that do cleanup stuff, like Isotope RX8, which, clean up anything that's wrong with the audio pretty much. I didn't include the cleanup plugins or processors. I just included the mixing plugins. And we're going to talk more about plugins later in this episode as well, but just the 4 plugins that I mentioned in this post from August 4th, 2020, my 4 favorite mixing plugins are the Focusrite SC plugin, which stands for Focusrite Studio Channel. It's from Plugin Alliance. It's a channel strip. It's just awesome. I don't even know. And I'm talking about the sound of it. It just sounds amazing. The second plugin I mentioned was Aquamarine 4, which is from Acoustica Audio, which is a 2-stage compressor, which I really love. The third one I mentioned is Vocal Rider from Waves. I think by now everyone must have heard of this plugin. It's just a great, extremely handy to use on guests who don't have good mic technique and they get really loud and then they get really soft. Vocal Rider evens them out automatically. It's really awesome. And the fourth plugin I mentioned is Soothe 2 from Oic Sound. And this is an intelligent de-esser, and it does more than that as well. But basically for podcast production, it's the de-essing that it does is really, really awesome. So Soothe 2. Anyway, and by the way, I forgot to mention, all the links to these individual posts are in the show notes. So check the show notes. You can click through to any of these posts that I'm talking about. Okay, next daily goodie. Microphone level versus line level. Microphone level versus line level. Yeah, microphone level refers to the strength of an audio signal that's coming out of a microphone, and which is a relatively weak signal. And that's why we need a preamp. So there's the signal that comes out of the actual microphone, and I'm talking XLR. I'm talking analog here. I'm not talking about a USB microphone. I'm talking about an XLR microphone. The level that comes out of that XLR on the mic itself is very low, and it needs a preamp to boost up the gain, right? We all know if you have a mic, you need a preamp. So the microphone level that comes out of the mic is very low and weak, and you need a preamp to boost it up to line level. So line level is the level at which you record the audio. It's the level that you play it back. Basically, after you record it, it's line level, and it just stays line level the whole time. And that's it. And then you just produce it and publish it. So that's the difference between microphone level and line level. And also, and I have another post that I linked to here about the types of audio signal levels. So that's another thing you can click through. Yeah, and so, by the way, the quality of the microphone preamp, the quality of the preamp itself has a big effect on the quality of the audio, of the sound that you end up hearing. So the preamp quality is actually important. So the microphone is obviously important, but the preamp quality is also important. And that's the difference between, let's say, everyone loves the Rodecaster Pro, and it's great. Rodecaster Pro, great. But, okay, that's a $600 unit, and it has 4 mic pre's in it. Whereas, for instance, my channel strip, and of course I splurged and I bought something really awesome, but I bought a channel strip. It's a hardware channel strip. It's the Neve Portico 2, and it has 1 mic pre. It's 1 channel, and this unit costs more than $3,000. So guess what? The mic preamp in my Neve Portico 2 is way better than a mic pre in the Rodecaster Pro, for instance. I'm just saying, for instance. Even we were talking about the Focusrite Scarlett series, right? My channel strip is way better than that because it's just a very, very high quality mic preamp, and I paid for that, right? And I'm going to use it for the rest of my life. I'm going to sound great for the rest of my life, right? So that's what I chose to do. But anyway, I'm just giving details and a description of how mic preamps can be different quality. So anyway, I thought that was good to mention. The next daily goodie is the Zoom ZDM1 dynamic microphone. All right, I posted this on August 7th, and it said that this thing was going to be available in mid-September of 2020, and it's the end of October, and I checked. It's still not available. So anyway, this is Zoom. They made a dynamic microphone. When it was announced, everybody was going goo goo gaga over this thing. Nowadays, of course, I'm recording this on October 28th, 2020. It's going to be published tomorrow, 29th. But now everyone's talking about the what is it? The Shure MV7 is it called? The new USB mic from Shure that's kind of like the SM7B but cheaper and also has USB. So anyway, new mics come out, everyone goes gaga, and it's great. But okay, so this Zoom mic that I wrote about here, it's not even out yet. But anyway, I'll link to it. It's a large diaphragm, dynamic. I haven't heard it, obviously, because it hasn't come out yet, but I assume it'll be out soon. So click through in the show notes if you want to learn more about that mic. Next daily goodie. Temporary sound treatment to muffle loud people next door. Temporary sound treatment to muffle loud people next door. All right, so here's what happened. As I mentioned, it's October now, but in the spring, spring and early summer, like May, June, apparently my neighbor is renting their house, and I don't know who's renting it, but they like to sit on the back porch and laugh and carry on and be loud. And I have a window that faces their back porch, and so when I'm sitting in my studio mixing audio and producing audio through the window quite a bit, I could hear people next door carrying on, and I'm like, oh man, these are the times when I wish I had like a real studio, right? Like a real studio, like so that when you're in the real studio, you don't hear anything from outside, obviously. But of course, I'm just sitting here in my finished basement with windows and nature outside and a neighbor on the one side. Anyway, so the window that's facing the neighbor's house, I actually rolled up some of the extra foam, the big foam pads that I had that I used for the walls, and I like stuffed them in this window cavity, and then I put I put these big lights that I have that I don't use very often to hold it in there. And there's a picture on the post. You can see what I did. It's a real hack job. I mean, it's terrible, right? It's just, I mean, it's pretty bad, but it helped a lot. And over the summer, when the weather was nice and the neighbors were out there making noise, I barely heard them at all. I usually did not hear them, but sometimes they would get crazy loud and I would hear it. So I don't know, my little homemade thing worked, but it's a total hack job, but it worked. And, and now it's fall and I don't think they're outside as much. So I don't know, maybe I'll take that foam out of the window and I don't know. I'll probably just leave it there, right? Why not? I don't know. I think these people are renting the house for, I would assume, a year because they've been here since early spring. So it's more than 6 months already. Anyway. Yeah, so, and you can see a picture on the post. So, all right. Anyway, let's move on to the next Daily Goody. And this Daily Goody is titled Top 10 Audio Plugins for Podcast Production. Yeah, the top 10 audio plugins for podcast production. Okay, so what I did was I had 10 different categories of plugins, and in each category, I chose, one that's really, really good, or the best in my opinion, right? Just my opinion. But so the post starts out with the cleanup and repair, which of course I chose Isotope RX7, which now RX8 has come out. So, but it's, RX8 is just an updated version of RX7. The channel strip category, I chose the Sheps Omni channel. And by the way, this is a cool post because in each category, I pick a plugin. I pick my top plugin for that category. But then sometimes there are more expensive plugins that are better. And I actually mentioned them in this post and I link to them as well. So for instance, the channel strip. I'm saying that the Sheps Omni channel is the top channel strip, but if you want to spend more money, then get that Focusrite SC channel strip. I mean, normally it costs $350, but it's awesome. And even with Waves, for instance, and other, you can get the SSL channel strips, which, emulate an SSL console. So what I'm saying is I made some picks, but mostly I picked something that wasn't too expensive because, most people who produce podcasts, they're not going to go spend $350 on a channel strip plugin, although that would be a great purchase. All right, so category 3 is the vocal rider, which it gets its own category because it's really that handy. Category 4 was the EQ, and I chose the FabFilter Pro Q3, which is great. It's just a great plugin. But recently, and by the way, I made this post before I bought several new plugins from Plugin Alliance. So Plugin Alliance has really awesome plugins, and I'm sort of trying one. No, I'm not trying one. So what happened with Plugin Alliance was if you buy into their, mixing plugin package or something, it's like 40 plugins and you get them all for a year and they charge you I think it's $250 for the whole year. And then you'd have to renew or else you can't use them anymore. But what they did, these people are smart. They said, yeah, it's $250 for the whole year, but if you sign up today, whenever this was, you pay the $250 and they would immediately give you $250 in credit towards buying any of their plugins. And I was like, you know what? I'm doing it. Because basically, I'm going to have, for $250, I'm going to have 40 plugins for a whole year, And I'm going to be able to own like my 3 or 4 or 5 favorite plugins from them for $250. So I said, you know what? I'm doing it. So I did that. And so now I have a bunch of all new plugins, which I'm going to mention that in a second when we get to the next post, which is the big list. All right. Currently, we're talking about the top 10, and I picked one in each category. So let's continue here with category 5, the compressor. And I chose Aquamarine 4, which is awesome. But there's a bunch from Waves that are good. There's a lot of good compressors out there. Category 6, multi-band compressor, has to go to the FabFilter Pro MB, which is awesome, although there are many other multi-band compressors. Category 7 is a limiter, and I had to choose the FabFilter Pro L2. So you might be thinking, wow, that's a lot of FabFilter plugins that Chris is choosing. Well, yeah, like they're really good. They sound really good. And the I don't know if you've ever seen FabFilter plugins, but they look amazing. Like their user interface is by far way better than any other plugin company. It's just, it's not even a competition because they graphically show things that all these other plugins don't, most of them. So anyway, that's why FabFilter shows up here. Category 8 is a de-esser, which you always need de-essers. I chose Soothe 2, which I mentioned earlier, and also the FabFilter Pro DS is amazing as well. Category 9 is saturation. I chose Saturn 2 from FabFilter. Although now, because now I have these new plugins, there's one from Plugin Alliance called the Black Box Analog Design HG2. And dude, this thing is I just love it. Like I can't express how much I love this plugin. It just sounds so good. And I actually used it on some music. I'm starting to produce a little music, play some guitar, write some songs, or making some beats using Ableton Live. And now with this Black Box Analog Design HG2, man, you put a loop through that and crank it up. Oh, it's like, it really starts to make things sound analog and huge with all that saturation. Anyway, let's finish this post. Category 10 is mastering, and I chose Ozone 9 from Isotope, which is a suite of mastering plugins. And bonus category was category 11, which was specialty plugins, and I list a bunch of them here. Exciters, transient shapers, intelligent EQs, multi-effects, including reverb, delay, chorus, flange, filters, and distortion. Anyway, there's a lot in that post. And again, the post we were talking about is titled Top 10 Audio Plugins for Podcast Production. Okay, wow, that's a lot. But nothing compared to the big list. So this, again, I'll put this in the show notes. This post, this is not a post. This is a page on my website because I'm going to keep this thing current. And the page is called Podcast Audio Plugins, the Big List. So in this post, I also break down the plugins by category, but in each category, I list like 8 or 10 different plugins. And most of the plugins that I list on this page, there's probably 60 or 70 or 80 plugins on this page. I don't know. But most of them I own. So basically everything I own is on this page. And in addition to that, I included some others which I do not own, but that I know are good. So the big list is really cool. I talk about cleanup plugins, Auphonic Multitrack, RX8. I talk about noise reduction, channel strips, equalizers, compressors, multiband compressors, limiters, expanders and gates, de-essers, saturation, exciters, tape emulation, leveling, transient shapers, and monitoring as well. And then I list my current favorite plugins, which actually do include the new Plugin Alliance plugins that I got and I'm using. And I will mention this one EQ because it is so, I don't know why it's so awesome, but it's amazing. It's very new. It just came out. It's called the AMEK EQ 200, AMEK. AMEK EQ 200 from Plugin Alliance. It's literally a $400 EQ, and it's meant for mastering. But it's just, it's again hard to explain. The other new one I'm loving is a compressor, a dual stage compressor, similar to Aquamarine 4, but this one's from Plugin Alliance. It's called Shadow Hills Mastering Compressor Class A. So that compressor is awesome. Okay, anyway, that's it for the daily goodies that I'm going to cover in this episode. So let's move on to what's been going on in my world. I just want to say I appreciate you listening and being part of this community. I appreciate that you're participating, that you send me emails and messages, you send me potential guests. Like, I'm really happy to be able to share a lot of information and teaching and training and then also have dialogue back and forth with you guys. So, if you haven't reached out to me yet, feel free, please reach out, say hi. I also want to mention that episode 200 was just awesome. I mean, did you guys enjoy that episode 200? It was a celebration episode, and I asked many people to send me horrible sounding audio on purpose. I wanted horrible sounding audio because it was fun. It was just a lot of fun. I actually, I don't know, it was like 1 or 2 days after that episode published, and I just played it for my wife as we were doing stuff in the kitchen and in the living room and stuff. And I just played that episode, and once we started playing it, like, I wasn't sure if she was going to want to hear the whole thing, because it was like 50 minutes or 55 minutes. And, I mean, my wife likes what I do, but, she's not into, audio and she's not into horsing around the way I am. So, but anyway, we started listening to that episode 200 and she got sucked in and we listened to the whole thing. And she was like, wow, that's awesome. So I don't know. It just really came out well. Next thing I want to talk about is my new website design. Have you seen it yet? podcastengineeringschool.com. Dude, big thanks to Daniel Hager. Daniel Hager, everybody. Daniel Hager. Oh, geez, Daniel. Thank you. Daniel lives in Germany, and he was my guest on episode 109. If you want to go back, listen to episode 109. The link will be in the show notes. He's the host of a show called Let's Talk Retouching. And because it's photography and, manipulating images and photos and retouching photos. So his podcast is called Let's Talk Retouching. He's the owner of Hager Media. He's an award-winning, internationally published retoucher and Adobe Photoshop certified expert. So, like, when it comes to images and photos and stuff, like, Daniel is the man. Like, this, like as good as I know audio, that's how good he knows images. And I don't know, it's amazing talking to him and learning about that stuff. So anyway, Daniel's helped me out, switching over the whole website, revamping the website, making it look better. So I can't thank you enough, Daniel Hager. I really appreciate it, man. And him and I are also, because he used to play in some metal bands, and I used to play in some hardcore / metal bands. So Daniel and I are pretty soon, we're going to do a live stream where we play music from our old bands. Just to, like, I'll play a song from my old band, then he'll play one from his old band. And we thought about, I don't know, we're just going to do it just to see how it goes. But, like, then we started talking and we're like, you know what? There's probably a lot of people who had bands in the past that never actually recorded their songs for an album or never recorded their songs professionally. So, people might have demos from their old bands. It's like, we should, I don't know, play them and have fun with them. But anyway, there's more to it than that because of copyright, stuff like that. But I don't know, like, I've been in many bands, and there's so many songs that I was part of that are awesome songs, but they never got recorded properly, ever. And all it is, it's like a 20-year-old bad recording of a demo of a song that I think is really a good song. And it's sort of a shame, but I don't know. That's what happens. That's life, I guess. So anyway, Daniel Hager and I might do a live stream soon where we, play our old band's music. So if you have an old band and you want us to play your old band song, send me a note. I'm serious. I don't know. Let's have some fun. Okay, next thing is Podcasters Lounge, the Facebook group. Are you a member of the Podcasters Lounge Facebook group yet? It's really pretty cool. And in that Facebook group, by the way, I used to live stream every week. Every Wednesday night, I used to live stream in the lounge just to have fun and hang out with other podcasters, and it was great. But over the summer, I stopped because, doing anything once a week, every week, it's a lot of effort and energy, right, that it takes. So I needed a break from that. So, but anyway, I would love to live stream more in the lounge. So if you're listening and you're a member of the Podcasters Lounge in Facebook, let me know. Maybe you want to be part of some live streams or host some live streams in the lounge. I'm happy to hear from you. And also, but I was thinking, this is my idea for some new live streams for the Podcasters Lounge. Because I watch a lot of Twitch. On Twitch, actually, this is something I was going to mention later, but on Twitch, I watch chess streams. People play chess and they stream it. And it's not just anybody. It's the best chess players in the world are literally playing chess and streaming it and talking through the game and everything. It's a tremendous learning experience, and it's just fun. It's just great on Twitch and YouTube. Some of them stream on YouTube. But anyway, I've been watching a lot of Twitch. And the other thing I'm watching on Twitch, besides chess, is musicians. People playing and singing their music live on Twitch. It's really awesome. They have a whole category called music. And you can just go, and there's all these people live right now that are streaming their music. They're playing songs, they take requests, and they perform the music live. Anyway, I find that fascinating because I'm into music and, independent artists. It's really cool. So my big idea is to ask some of these music artists to perform on a live stream for the Podcasters Lounge. We could have some little mini concerts in the Podcasters Lounge and get just really cool artists from around the globe just to come play some of their music. I don't know. I think that would be cool. Anyway, that was just a thought, and which means it's probably a bad idea, but because most of my thoughts are bad ideas, even though they might be fun, but anyway, I guess I don't mean that literally, but okay, the next thing is, my new course, right? It's a small course that I just put out maybe 3-4 weeks ago. It's called Getting New Clients at Higher Rates. It's actually for podcast editors and podcast producers who want to get some new clients and earn a lot more money. It's a really cool small course. I just wanted to mention it again because I'm infamous for spending a lot of time on something and then I publish it and then I literally forget to talk about it and I forget to promote it and I don't mention it for like 9 months and then I'm like, oh yeah, I should probably mention that thing that I did. So just wanted to mention it, right? So I don't forget to mention it. Okay, now an update on my songwriting. If you're a regular listener, you might know that I wanted to start writing songs, and I actually a month and a half ago maybe, I bought an acoustic guitar, and it's a Taylor. It's a decent guitar. I spent $700 on this guitar, so it's decent. It's not the best one in the world, but it's not your $150 special. So it's $700, Taylor. It stays in tune and it has a tuner on it and has you can, plug it in as well. So it's good. And I did a lot of research before I bought this guitar. I went to various stores over months and months, played all kinds of guitars. And the one I ended up buying is one that I played in the same Guitar Center. I played it on 3 different occasions when I visited that Guitar Center. And every time I visited, I would try out this guitar and I'd be like, oh, this one is good. This one feels good. But I was like, the first time I went, I was like, yeah, it feels good, but let's see. Let's not make a quick decision here. And next time I went back, same thing. And the third time I went back, I was like, all right, I'm buying this guitar because it just feels really good to me, right? Okay. So anyway, I've been playing acoustic guitar, writing some riffs and arrangements, and just having fun. I haven't literally played any guitar for years. And I'm not really even a guitar player. I'm a drummer pretty much, but I can play a little guitar. But I'm just having fun. And so with regards to my songwriting update or my songwriting challenge, I actually produced 2 very, very short songs that I sang on. And okay, they're very short. Like literally, one is like a minute, the other one's like a minute and 15 seconds. So it's basically one little riff. And then I just sang a few lines over it, like maybe 4 or 8 lines. Like I didn't sing much. Now, my idea there was just to do something, just to create something, and just to put my voice, record my voice. But because, by the way, I can't sing, and I don't have, my pitch is terrible. Like I'm not a singer. I've never been a singer, but part of my songwriting challenge was like, no, I'm just gonna do it. I don't care if it's horrible. I'm gonna record my ideas, and then later on, I'll get a real singer to sing what I wrote, right? Because I don't want my voice on the final song, but I have to write the song. Someone's got to write the song. So anyway, those 2 little songs that I did, which no one's heard, by the way, that and no one ever will. I'm serious. Some of the pitch in there is terrible. But anyway, the two little songs that I made they're interesting ideas, and it sort of invigorated me. So now I'm writing some more riffs, and I don't know, I'm having fun with it. So if you are having fun with any of your hobbies lately, which this whole year of 2020 is like, it's the perfect time to get back into some of hobbies because life has changed so much, right? And if you're bored, you got to do something, so you pick up an old hobby. That's what I feel I'm doing with music, right? So, all right, well, that's the update on my songwriting update. I'm also planning on some of these performers on Twitch that are really talented. I want to get some of them to sing some of my songs too. So, but I'm not ready for that yet. But okay, and the last thing I'll mention is that I want to record a new episode of The Mystic Show. Not sure if you knew that I have a podcast about spirituality and meditation, and it's called The Mystic Show. And I've been doing it since 2014, although over the last probably 3 years, I haven't put out many episodes at all. I think there's 185 or something. Anyway, it's really interesting stuff if you're into that topic. So I want to do a new episode, but I'm not sure what, it's like, it's hard to do an episode when you don't exactly feel like doing an episode. You know what I mean? Like, and this is a show where like The Mystic Show is just, it's not for my business. It's not for anything. It's just because I wanted to do it and talk about these topics. So anyway, I also created these 4 pieces of audio called Relax with Rumi. I don't know if you ever heard of Rumi, Rumi. He was a Middle Eastern person in probably about 1,500 years ago. I actually don't know when he lived, maybe 500 AD or 700 AD, 800 AD, something like that. And he wrote a lot. He was like a poet. That's one of the things he did. I'm sure he did other things, but anyway, a lot of his poetry and his writings are really just deep in terms of, spirituality, stuff like that. And not religious, just spiritual though. So anyway, I took a bunch of his quotes because a lot of his quotes are amazing. And what I did is I read some of his quotes over some music. And so I made these 4 little files. And so I'm going to put them out through The Mystic Show. So anyway, The Mystic Show is available wherever you listen to podcasts and stuff like that. And so if you have like a pet project podcast, something that you do just for fun, let me know in the comments here or on the post or on social media, wherever. So anyway, I don't know. This was interesting. I just kind of felt like sharing a bunch of, what's going on in my world kind of thing. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it wasn't boring. And so anyway, thanks for listening to the Podcast Engineering Show. We'll be back next week with a great interview. And thanks again to Focusrite for sponsoring this episode. And check out the show notes for all the links to everything. I appreciate you. And let me turn the air button off one last time. Okay, now the air button is off. How's that sound? Do you hear a difference with the air button off? Okay, now I'll turn it back on. Okay, now the air button is back on. Do I sound clearer? All right. Anyway, see you guys. Bye.